Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sam, and that is a 2018 Lincoln Continental. This particular car belongs to Maurice West End Lincoln, which is a Lincoln dealership in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, of which I am an employee of. And it is my pleasure to give you a quick look around of the car and a little overview of how it drives. So this is the 2018 Lincoln Continental Reserve. This is the second highest trim level available for the Continental, and there are quite a few things that are worth noting about this car. One of the things that I like to mention the most about this car, in particular, is this car does a lot of things right, but the things it does the best are the little things. This car offers a whole bunch of standard luxury car features, but the things that it does the best just so happen to be the things that not many other brands, with an exception of brands like Rolls-Royce and Maserati and Bentley, offer. So one of my favorite things about the Continental, which is such a small thing, but really kind of makes a big difference, is when you come out to the car, obviously the car will unlock when the key is nearby, but you open the door, which is electronically released, and obviously you can get in. But say you have a friend who doesn't know the car very well and might be a little more gentle than usual with the doors, well, that is no problem, because these doors offer a soft close. So let me just give you a shot right here. So I'm just going to gently press the door into the car, and it will just close automatically. So you don't need to worry about the doors being in that stupid spot where like it's half closed, but it's not all the way closed, so all the lights are going off, and you take it into a car wash, the whole thing's going to start filling with water, which has happened to me before. Another one of my favorite things that this car offers, as well as other 2018 Lincoln models offer, is it has an app called the Lincoln Way. And what the Lincoln Way does is, Tesla offers an app similar to this, where if your phone is basically connected to the car. So the different things that your car can do, like remote start and unlocking and unlocking the doors, is actually available to do on the phone. So let me show you here how this works. So I've got my phone right here, and I don't know exactly how well you can see this because it is very bright, but basically what it has on here is it has this car. My phone is synced to this very car, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to operate on my phone, and then it will have, there's a little thing that says start engine in the middle. So I'm going to hold that, and we're going to start the engine from right here. I'm not in the car, my keys are in my pocket, and we're going to start the car. Just started, just then. I didn't even get in the dang car. Lincoln does a lot of things right, obviously. You know, it's a luxury car brand, and it's completely redoing its look. You know, the Continental has a more aggressive front end, and it looks a little more sleek, but the looks aren't even necessarily the things that are the best about this car. The best things about it really are the tiny little details. One of the best things about it also is, you know, these little lights right here. These simple little lights. They're always on, they're running lights. When you get close to the car, they'll just turn on. And when they're on and you're close to it, it's the Lincoln Embrace. And the Lincoln Embrace is something that Lincoln is trying to start to incorporate in their newer cars, which basically means even if you're near the car and not necessarily in it, you're still going to get the same experience of owning the car as you would if you were just sitting in the dang car. Another thing that is worth noting that I actually can't show because it's so bright today is these cars do project a Lincoln logo, which is called the welcome mat. It's a little projected just Lincoln logo with a white background onto the ground, which will kind of welcome you into the car when you get in. Another one of the coolest things about the Continental and the newer Lincoln cars is this new and improved front end. So this front end is obviously new to Lincoln. All the cars are getting a facelift in the near future, but at the moment, the Continental, the MKZ, and the Navigator are the three vehicles that offer this new and improved front end. So you may be familiar with the Lincolns having just the logo and then the two split wing grille styles going towards the headlights. That's a thing of the past now. It's going away very soon and being replaced with this new and improved front end that gives these cars much closer to a Rolls-Royce and Bentley kind of look than it does to anything else. And to be honest, as I said before, the closest thing I can compare this particular car to is honestly something like a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley for a price that is substantially smaller. This exact vehicle is for sale right now for $64,111, and that is the best price that Maurice can offer, and if you want this car, you can get it for that exact price. And it looks really special, you know. A lot of cars that are in this segment aren't going to have a kind of baller factor that the Continental offers, and this one really does it super well. So now I'm inside the Continental. I'm sitting inside in the driver's seat on these perfect position seats. And the perfect position seats are something that I really want to mention. This car offers seats that are more comfortable than any seat I have ever sat in my entire life. It is amazing how comfortable these seats are. So these seats offer a couple of, actually more than a couple of options on the way that you want to sit. So, you know, most luxury cars are going to offer lumbar support, and they're gonna offer a kind of a cushy, comfortable, maybe a little kind of like a hug feel that your seats can give you, but this car has seats that will actually contour to your body exactly to the settings that you want. So let me show you how that works. So the seats are all controlled from this panel right here. So these seats are actually an option for the Continental, but obviously this car is equipped with that. So you have all of your seat settings right here. So these I'll get to in a moment, but we're gonna go to the simple, you know, seat design that most cars have. So this is your headrest control. So if you can move this up, you can move this down, you can move this back, and you can move it forward, and it'll adjust accordingly. This right here is your upper back. So I'll use this seat as an example. I'll move this out of the way. So your upper back is going to control this part of the seat. So it's going to go forward and backward depending on what you decide you want the seat to do. So if I was to move this forward, now this part, as I said, is moving closer towards my back and kind of hugging my back a little more than it was before. So I'm gonna move that back, be a little more comfortable. And this right here obviously is going to just adjust the recline of your seat. So if you want your seat to recline a little more, it'll do that. That's the simple, easy one. And this is forward and backwards, just like always. However, this can actually go up and down depending on your settings as well. And the front can be moved as well as the back. So you can move the whole seat up and down, or you can just move the front up and down if you like to kind of sit with your legs elevated a little bit. And speaking of legs, this is another one of my favorite parts. Let me show you on this seat. So these two left and right things right here will correspond to these two leg rests. So if I was to press the left leg rest, so if I was to just press this to go forward, your leg will actually move. So, let me just get out and show you. This will be a little easier. So, when I press this button up on the top here, watch the seat. You can adjust your individual leg rests. So for me, I'm kind of taller, so I like to have the leg rests out a little more because it's a little more comfortable. It covers more of my upper leg. So I can just press these leg rests and they can go forward accordingly to how I want. And as I said, you can actually have these adjust individually if you like to have a particular seating style. I like to sit with my left foot kind of closer to the seat and then my right foot on the gas and brake pedal. So sometimes I like to prefer to have the left one down a little bit and the right one forward. So now we're on to my favorite part about the perfect position seats, which is this panel right here. So this panel is what makes these seats shine more than any other seat on the market right now. So the other controls that I showed you are cool, but they're not necessarily mind-blowing, but these are going to kind of change the game in the way the seats work. So we're gonna start with this little directional pad right here. So if I press the up arrow on this, it's going to bring me to this screen on the infotainment system. So I'm taller and I like to have my seats kind of cushy, so I have all of these settings at the lowest, but you have 3 lumbar supports. So if you prefer to have your upper middle back have a little more support on it and your lower middle back to have even more support on it, but then the one below that to have none, you can arrange that. But the best part are these. So this setting and this setting are my favorites. So these can hug your waist and your thighs according to the way you like. So I personally kind of like the Ferrari seat kind of feel, so the seat can hug me a little more. So I kind of like to have it hugging me almost as much as I can, so I can feel a little more attached to the vehicle. And when it feels like this, you feel like you're more in control of the car, you know, you're more of a part of the car. And then boom, that's all you gotta do. It's really super easy, and you can get a perfect position that you like exactly the way you want it. And obviously, since these are pretty complicated features, you can, of course, save your settings into 3 different spots right on here. Super easy. You press the setting that you want and it'll save it for you. I'll just hold this button right here, and that little chime means that it's saved. So now I can screw up the seat all I want, and then press the 1, and it'll go exactly to the seat setting that I want. And then, here's the best part. The best part is the massage. So if I press this button, this little screen will turn on the infotainment system, and right now I am being massaged. Yes, I'm being massaged right now. I mean, I know this isn't something that is necessarily super exciting for a car, because it's not unheard of to have a car that massages you, but this car has a very strong massage feature. You know, a lot of luxury cars have a massage feature, but they're not very good. Like it'll just kind of, you'll just kind of feel it a little bit. But this one's actually really good. Now I've heard that the Rolls-Royce massage seats are also really good. I've never had the pleasure to try them, but I mean, I can say this is the best massage I've ever gotten in a car, and it's kind of cool that I get to say I'm getting a massage while sitting in a car. So one of my favorite parts about this car is it's kind of like, it's got kind of a baller factor. Like I went over the outside with you, and the baller factor of this car is pretty obvious, you know, and when you're driving it, that's not lost. So in this frigid cold weather that Minnesota is known for, cars don't warm up very quickly. It doesn't matter what car you have, it's not going to warm up very quickly, but there are cars that warm up more quickly than others, and this is one of them. This car has heated seats and a heated steering wheel. So if you get in and it's freezing cold, you can know that this car actually does have ways to heat itself up a little quicker than other cars. Now, this is not necessarily unusual for a luxury car to have a heated steering wheel and heated seats, but this car has heated seats that start very quickly and a heated steering wheel that starts very quickly as well. You get into this car, and just a couple minutes later, your whole back is warmed up and your hands are warm. And you don't need to wear gloves all the time when you're driving. Just, I have like sweaty palms, and I don't like to get these nice steering wheels sweaty, so I just wear gloves. You don't need to wear them. I mean, I have the heated steering wheel off, and it's plenty warm now because I had it on a couple minutes ago, and it warms up very, very nicely. And the heated seats have three settings, so you can do low, medium, and high. And high is very hot. It's not like, it doesn't feel like you're, you know, just gently being warmed. It's like legitimately pretty warm. I definitely would not be complaining about the heat of the seat when it's on the high setting. So I'd assume if you're watching one of these videos, you are one of two people. You're either a car enthusiast and you want to know a thing or two about the Lincoln Continental, which, cool, I'm happy to help. Or two, you're interested in purchasing the Lincoln Continental. Either way, it is my pleasure to help you know a little bit about it. And these cars appeal to both the enthusiast as well as somebody who just wants a nice, comfortable luxury ride. This car can very easily be switched into a more responsive kind of drive, but it does not ever need to be. So right now I'm just in drive, which is, you know, I'm in a comfort mode, and the car is driving like normal. There's nothing particularly abnormal with the way it drives, and the car is smooth, and it's feeling like it's just gliding gently across the pavement, and it feels lovely. But if I was to switch it into sport mode, I can definitely hit the gas a little more than usual, and I would love to, but there are people in front of me, so I can't. But this car is actually surprisingly quick, and the 2.7 liter V6 that this car offers is not slow. 2.7 liters feels a little bit small for a car that is this large, but in reality, this car is very fast for its size. If you see this car and you think, man, that's just a big ass sedan and it's slow, you're right about the first part, because it is big and it is a sedan and it does have a ton of room, but it's not slow. You know, if there's any car that I would prefer to do a road trip in, honestly, I would prefer to do it in a car that is small but comfortable. Small as in low. You know, in an SUV, if you're doing a road trip in an SUV, you're kind of off the ground, and it doesn't feel as much like a road trip to me. Now, I might be a weirdo, and I might think that certain road trips should be certain ways when they usually aren't. But I find that a road trip is at its best when you're in a car that is low to the ground but comfortable. This car is not necessarily scraping the ground, but it's not as high as the Navigator, which I am going to be talking about in another video, but it's not going to be high off the ground. You don't have a king of the road kind of feel as much as you would with a Navigator, but this car does have the presence that, like, it's a cool car. But with a road trip, you know, this car is comfortable, it's heavy, and it glides on the road. You know, I could drive in this car for hours on end, and I'd be totally fine with it. You know, I could easily drive this thing to Chicago and have no problems, and I live in Minneapolis. That's a long drive. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put it into sport mode, and I'm gonna hit the gas a little bit. So I've just switched it into sport mode. My whole heads-up display has changed, and I'm just gonna downshift, just hit the gas a little bit. Okay, you don't even feel it. It's the thing that is both awesome about this car and frustrating is that it is so effortlessly fast that when I hit the gas, you can hardly feel the acceleration, but I went up 20 miles per hour when I hit the gas like that, and I hardly even flinched. The idea behind the newest Lincoln vehicles is to have an effortless experience. So when you're driving a car, you shouldn't have to put in any effort to enjoy yourself or to have a good drive. And that is obvious. Oh, come on, stupid navigation. This car does not fall short in terms of the effortless experience that Lincoln offers. Everything about this car requires no effort. You get in, you press a couple buttons, and you're driving. And you can adjust your driving experience by pressing a button. Pressing buttons is the only effort you have to put into with this car. There's no sort of thinking that is required with owning one of these. You get in and you drive. And if you like to drive fast, it'll drive fast. If you like to drive slow, it'll drive slow. And it'll be equally as comfortable if you're going 30 miles per hour as if you're going 85 miles per hour. It's going to feel roughly the same. And that's really cool. It's really exciting to have a car that is so easy to drive. You don't need to think about it. A lot of luxury vehicles are going to require a little bit of effort to drive, specifically sports cars. You know, they're more responsive and they're louder and, you know, they're a little more bumpy with the ride. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, because if you're driving a car that has a responsive feel, that's probably what you're looking for. But with this car, you don't need to settle for exclusively a luxury feel or exclusively a sport feel. It's got both. And for a car that's $64,000 and not, you know, $400,000, not needing to compromise is pretty exciting. All right, so that was the kind of semi-comprehensive review of the brand new Lincoln Continental. I hope you enjoyed it, and I figured I'd just take a second to let you know that, first of all, it's been a couple months, obviously, since the review happened. When I did the review, there was a lot of snow on the ground, and I think it was like negative 15 degrees outside. It was really cold. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've got a video coming up where I'm kind of going to touch base with you guys and tell you what I'm planning on doing with this channel. I can't make it to Cars and Coffee as much as I used to be able to, so I'm going to kind of try and move in a different direction, but hopefully it'll be actually cooler because I have access to some more stuff that might actually make the channel be a little bit more neat. I'll see you soon. It's been fun. It's been good seeing you guys again, and I've got some cool new stuff coming soon with different cars. It's gonna be really cool. I've got some good ideas. I've got some probably bad ideas. We're just gonna give them a whirl. We're gonna give them a solid, like, let's do it. We're gonna give it a college try. See you soon. Adios.